Thank you. Oh. Mike, do you want to open the meeting? Or no? Okay. I'll open the meeting. It's 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. Oh my gosh, that is very loud. I want them to hear me, but I don't want to be... Okay. The tens of people that are watching. Okay. Okay. How are you guys? Good. It's been a while since we met. Sorry about the room change here. Ginger said that the other room was booked for this time, so that's why I booked it in here, but I don't think it's actually booked, or a meeting got canceled. So, I apologize. Did you all see the development update that I sent before the last meeting? Yes? Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't print out a copy, so I apologize. That was just an update for you guys. That's recent development that's happened, at least since I last saw you, which was a while ago. Beyond that update, I don't know if you guys saw that Chuck's, they are selling their the property, not the business.
Interesting.
So they'll be moving. What?
So the Chuck's is leaving?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if they're leaving Auburn. They're looking at a couple different locations that 2 are in Auburn and the rest are not, and he is not at liberty to disclose those locations.
Right.
So I have no update on where they'll be going, but I hope they stay in Auburn.
Does he have a timeline for when he's looking to make that move finalized?
They have an RFP out for the property, so bids are due October 17th for the property itself. So I don't know, I think they're gonna wait and see what they get for proposals for the property. And then after that, I'm not sure how long it'll take for them to, pack up shop there, move to their new location, if they have a new location at that point in time.
Can that property be divided?
I don't know.
I'm curious about that too. It's a huge, it's a
Yeah.
big lot. It's like right at the corner of where we live.
It would depend, it would depend if the property is big enough in that zoning district so that both new parcels, or however many new parcels, also comply with the dimensional requirements. So, I'm not sure, it could be subdivided.
And that's been there a long time.
Hi.
Are there any like new requirements that would apply to a business moving into that space? Like they don't have sidewalks all the way around the building,
Yes.
like stuff like that. Are there any new requirements within current zoning rules that they were like grandfathered into that would apply to that property that would make it harder to like turn over? Things that would have to be updated? You may not know the answer, but I'm curious.
I don't know about sidewalks. For certain types of development, they would have to upgrade, like potentially have more parking spots, or they could have fewer parking spots. That's again depending on the use that goes into that building.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And as far as the building itself, the structure being up to code, I'm not sure about that. That's a question for the building inspector. It's an old building, so it may not be. And it may need to be upgraded to, if someone were to move in there, it may need to be upgraded to fit the current building code.
Yeah, got it.
So, hi Mary, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Sorry, we're in this room. There was supposed to be a meeting in the other room, but I guess it's either not happening or it got rescheduled, and here we are.
Perfect.
I presume it's not a big enough lot and not zoned properly for the public safety building that's been desperately looking for a property for, for years.
It is zoned to allow a public safety facility like
Yeah.
that, yes.
I wonder if it's not.
And there's that back access road
Yeah.
that goes out to whatever, it's Southbridge Street, right? Yep.
I know we're
So-
like economic development, so we'd hope it would be another like tax-paying business,
Yes.
but man, wouldn't that solve a problem?
Yes, I know. With the bids being due by October
Yeah.
17th, though, that's something that if we wanted to fund it
Oh, we know.
immediately, we would have to go to town meeting to have that approved, so.
I'm mostly being sarcastic.
The question was asked, though, so I
Yeah,
did
that's
look
good.
into it. So yes, government buildings are allowed there in that zoning district on that
Very
property.
interesting.
So, yes. I was just giving an update. I sent the development update for like 2023
Okay.
before the last meeting. I didn't resend it, I apologize. Okay. I hope you had a chance to look at it. If you didn't, I won't take offense. It wasn't, they're boring. Also, Carl Stores, not Carl's Stores, Carl Stores. They expanded their facility on Millbury Street from 140,000 square feet to 225,000 square feet. So I think they have a lease on the whole building now, not just the portion that they were previously in. And then the last update that I could think of was Commerce Drive, which is off of Washington Street. Eastland Partners is developing that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to have my back to you. And they're working on the third building over there. They're all distribution facilities. I don't think they have a tenant for the third building, but they're building the third building to also be a distribution facility of some sort. Grant updates. I think I updated you guys on this last time, but I don't think we'd received the executed paperwork, but we have got a wayfinding grant from Mass DOT for wayfinding signage on Route 12 and 20. That grant is $100,000. So along 12 and 20, we're hoping to put different signs that, sorry, I saw that little guy crawling. The signs from the wayfinding report that was done a few years ago, I believe, that you guys had worked on as well. That kind of got put on the back burner just for right now. There's a lot of state, because 12 and 20 are state highways, there's a lot of state permits that we'll need to get. And then we'll have to put the project out to bid. So we have the paperwork, we have the money, but we haven't started going out to bid or anything like that.
What types of signs? Are they just the road signs or?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. So there'll be signs with that approved Auburn design. I don't know if you remember the one with a picture of Town Hall, and then it says Auburn and embracing the past, launching into the future.
Okay,
Yep, so more decorative signs.
I see, okay.
Yep. To signal that you're in a commercial district or in Drury Square specifically. Again, we just have the preliminary design. We may have some that say specifically Drury Square or Welcome to Auburn, like at the start of 20 in
Okay.
Oxford or at the end of the road going into Worcester. I'm not sure yet
Okay.
on every specific sign, but I can send you or print out.
Well, I was just
The
thinking,
designs,
like,
again, I know it's been a couple of years
100,000, I'm
since.
like, wow,
That's
that's
a
gonna
lot
be
of
a lot of
signs,
signs,
yeah.
like.
I know. There's gonna be funding for other things as well, upkeep of the veterans parks that are throughout town. You
Or
know,
like,
if
you
they
would
need to
do like
replace.
signs for like conservation,
Yeah,
right? Yes,
yeah.
okay.
If any of the flags on the flagpoles or the light poles that are in Drury Square, if they need to replace any of those, seasonal decorations, wreaths, Christmas lights,
Oh, okay.
things like that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it all falls under there. Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you. And then the Green Communities Grant, We just upgraded the Merriam building, which is the little brick building in front, or out to the side, with heat pumps and mini splits inside, so it's electric now.
Nice.
And this October, I'll be applying, that's more on the energy side of my job, but I'll be applying for the next grant round to have heat pumps put in at Bryn Mawr School in the gym and the lower level classrooms. I guess currently there's heat pumps, or mini splits, sorry, in the upper level classrooms, but not in the lower, so just bring it all up to one type of system. Do you guys have any questions or anything so far? I feel like I do a lot of talking. I want feedback.
Is there any update on discussions with the mall, like with Sears, the Sears building and the Sears Auto Store, whether they, anything to report on that?
We haven't had any inquiries about it. It was not on the market for a long time, but it is now back on the market at the very least. So they're not selling, but have to lease the auto center and the department store that's attached to the mall. That kind of brings me into my next point, though, which is me and the town planner are working on zoning amendments for the regional mall district, which would hopefully, by amending the zoning, allow for uses that we'd like to see developed at the mall. Should the mall want to sell, or should they want to lease to somebody to have allowable uses that, like mixed use and maybe apartments? It depends, but things that we want to see go in there and have the building utilized.
So this is a draft? Or is
That is the current.
This is current, okay,
That's
got
the
it.
current regional mall
Okay.
section of the bylaw, yes.
Okay.
And then on the table of uses, the RM column is the regional mall district.
Okay.
So uses that are allowed or not allowed in that district. I met with the zoning bylaw review committee the last time that they met in September, and there were a few things that I would have liked to sway them on. One of them specifically being allowing mixed use by site plan approval and not special permit. Right now, I believe it's currently, and it's on page 5 of this table, combined business and dwelling. It's not allowed. They want to allow it by special permit. But special permits can be more restrictive, and I think it deters developers from coming in, because it's the regulations on what they can approve and deny can be perceived as subjective. So I would like to see that allowed by site plan approval, because it still goes through planning board review with a site plan approval application. So it will still be reviewed for things like parking, landscaping, lighting, traffic patterns, the structure itself, stormwater, all those different criteria that are reviewed by the planning board anyways. And all special permits go through the site plan review process by default, because you have to submit a site plan with all planning applications. But not all site plans require a special permit. Site plan is less restrictive, but it still goes through technical review by the planning board and by our peer review engineering company. I'm not sure who they use. They were using Graves, I believe, but regardless, by an engineer. So I was curious if you guys would be willing to either take a vote or just offer some feedback on the types of uses that you'd like to see, so I can report back to the zoning bylaw review committee on that, you know, that I had met with the economic development committee, and this is what they recommend for that district. While we're amending the bylaws at this point, why not get as much input as possible?
Great.
So I'm gonna open the floor to you guys. I know this is a lot of information.
I just want
I
to skim through
apologize.
the options.
Yes. If it helps you, the retail and consumer services uses start on page 7. So I think a lot of those that are currently not allowed, along with the mixed use would be things that we're focusing on, and anything that we'd want to change would be mostly in those categories.
Can I ask what might be just like a slightly dumb question? So the regional mall is not just the, is it like?
Oh, no, I'm
All
sorry.
the parking, the,
It's the,
Sears Auto Building, is it like?
it's the
what is that?
mall
Yeah.
itself.
Okay,
I hope you can all see this. It's the mall itself, and then just on this side of Route 12, these parcels down to Church Street or Water Street, right here, right before you get to the underpass of the highway right here.
Are there other what are there other businesses?
There's,
There's a couple small ones, right?
yeah, there's
Having a hard time picturing where on the,
Everybody's Fitness
okay,
and Firestone is the next one down from the mall.
okay.
AutoZone, Papagino's. There may be one more. And then there's Media Realty and the other very small business that are right here
I think
at this
there's-
last
there's
parcel.
also a Midas there, right?
Yeah, that might be one of the ones in
Midas and AutoZone
between.
are like right next to each other, okay.
I think that's between Everybody's Fitness
Okay,
and AutoZone.
Okay.
Is Midas.
got it,
Yes.
okay.
And then Reliant, but Reliant is technically its own parcel, but it is landlocked by the parcel that is the Auburn Mall. So, that's included in there too. So I
Okay.
think it's 8 parcels total.
I see.
It's an overlay district, the regional mall district is. The underlying district is the local business district. But the regional mall zone supersedes the regulations of the local business district, I believe.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a, a very, obvious location, and so I would say, like, what do we want the town to become,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to just duplicating what is already in the area.
Yep,
So, I mean, ideally, types of businesses that we have not been able to attract for whatever reason,
okay.
rather than, more of the same. It's such a visible spot.
Yes. My initial thoughts are mixed use, to be allowed by right. Allowed by right is, it can either be a yes or by site plan approval, because you're not judging the application based on the use. The use is consistent with the surrounding zone and the rest of the zoning district and the surrounding buildings and businesses. Whereas a special permit is determining whether or not you think that is an appropriate use to put there, which is why it's a little bit more subjective.
So in terms of like these, the codes, wait,
SP is
Is
special
special
permit,
permit,
and
SPA.
SPA is site plan approval.
and is just no, and there's no other code?
No, there's yes, but not a lot of things are allowed,
I see,
just yes.
okay. Yeah, so SPA is generally what you're like shooting for?
Yes.
To kind of nudge them
Toward, okay, I
Yes.
get it.
Because if it is an outright yes, That does not go to planning board or any board at all.
Yeah, no, okay, I get that.
Unless it were to, need to go to conservation for some reason. But as far as planning board goes and plan review, in that sense, a yes would not go to planning board. Site plan approval would, but again, just to make sure that their proposed site and any changes that they're making to the site make sense and are reviewed by an engineer, and then special permit is judging whether or not the use itself is appropriate. So they could decide, no, we don't think this is appropriate because of X, Y, and Z. That's not
maybe-
necessarily an option with the site plan approval. It is, there's always grounds for denial of projects, but in a general sense.
So basically, under the retail and business consumer services, they're all SPAs, so they're all allowed. So then we would just like go right down to the adult live entertainment and then decide if
Well,
that's
there-
something we wanted to include or not, and then go down that way? Is that what you propose?
There are a few that I think, like indoor amusement or recreation facility. About last time, if a Dave and Buster's wanted to go into the Sears facility or something of the sort.
They would have to jump through more hoops.
Yes.
So you would
Yep.
want to
Yeah.
change that to a SPA?
Right.
In an ideal world, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I would strongly add to that list, like brew pub or brewery winery. I think we have nothing like that. I feel like Sturbridge, Charlton, there's so many places that draw so much traffic, and we have none of it.
Yep.
And we benefit from none of it because no one's driving through Auburn to get to those places right
Yes.
now, so.
I don't think there's not one brewery here.
There's no
No.
brewery, there's not
That's
even a
sad.
real brew pub. There's plenty of restaurants, but not that many local restaurants. There's a lot of chain restaurants and a lot of fast food.
Where would that category fall under?
Oh, that is on page 9. There is a section that says brewery/winery.
It's right under those adult bookstores.
Yes, under adult
The
paraphernalia.
adult paraphernalia.
It's right there.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
I would also say like specialty market is something that the town has none of. I mean, we have a couple grocery stores and a couple convenience stores, but we don't have any like little specialty markets.
Okay.
Again, like a Sturbridge and I feel like it's so close to that pretty downtown that we're trying to cultivate. And so it would be nice to have that feel of like more
Yes.
local shops extending that way. I don't know.
I mean, I think a lot of times what I hear is, people go through Auburn to get to, like you mentioned, Sturbridge or Charlton or some of these other towns that have some of the stuff that people want, but we don't have. And, if they're already passing through town. that
Give
would
them
be a
somewhere to
thing
stop.
look to- Yeah, to
Yeah.
try to, attract here.
Just have more appealing places.
Yeah,
Yes.
to like, even if it's not an immediate draw, it's not the Treehouse Brewing, but you're on your way there and you know it's gonna be really busy and there's no food, you stop in Auburn, have a bite to eat before you
Yep.
go, or on your way home, right? Like,
Absolutely. I don't want to bombard you guys with information. We can have another meeting about this, and we can have another meeting in general, but we can discuss this at another meeting. But I just wanted to put it on your radar. We do want to go to Springtown meeting next year.
Oh, so this is for
With
the
these
spring?
changes,
Okay.
yes.
So we still have some time?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
yeah, when are we
I thought
do
it
it
was this fall, I was
Oh,
like,
no. No. That's in like 3 weeks.
Right,
No, I apologize.
okay, yeah.
Next spring.
Yeah, so we definitely can have more conversation about this.
Okay,
Yeah, this is great though.
that'd be great.
It's a good start.
Beyond the uses, in that section, 4.5, I think it is, that specifies the regional mall. I think I gave it as a separate handout. Again, I'm so sorry, I don't mean to bombard you guys with information. There are other requirements that we're looking at, potentially changing the building height. I know a few years ago, the max building height was changed in the surrounding districts. But because this takes precedence over the local business district, although the height cap was raised to 80 feet in the local business district, this is still at 35. So I think if all the districts around allow up to 80, even if it's not up to 80 in this specific zoning district or this overlay district, why not make it consistent with the surrounding area and what you're trying to do in the other areas, but it's not allowed in this one.
And is there anybody using 80-foot level yet?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if anyone has actually taken advantage of that. Maybe the new buildings on Washington Street or Commerce Drive. I can't say no for sure how tall they are, but they're big buildings, so I would venture to guess that they may be over 35 feet. That's a good point. I will look that up. I think if, not specifically for the mall, because the mall is already pretty tall, but for those other few buildings that are there, in a scenario where someone wanted to do mixed use and we did allow that, 35 feet isn't quite enough for a storefront and an apartment above it. Or if they wanted to just do 3 levels, that's not an extraordinarily tall building, but 35 feet is not enough. So if it's all right with you guys, these couple of changes that you suggested, can I bring these up at the next zoning bylaw committee meeting?
Please.
Okay. I just want to check and make sure that you guys are comfortable with that. My next item that I wanted some feedback on was the town's website, specifically the economic development page. I'd like to update that. A lot of towns have really cool economic development or like Chamber of Commerce, but the Chamber of Commerce is a separate entity, but like tourism, economic development type pages that people can go to, and they're really neat. And I had them pulled up in the other room, but I don't know if I can pull them up on the TV in here. But I have a couple examples, and I can send them to you if you'd like. But I want to include, if I can, on how the software works for the website now. Things like a business directory, an events calendar, and then more on the technical side, like a permitting guide, some featured properties, things like that. Just add more to the website. So if you guys have any ideas on what you'd like to see on the website and what you think would look nice, please let me know. I have updated the website a little bit in the last couple months, so I don't know how often you visit it, but it is a little bit different. There was a lot of information on that first main page, and it was all one after the other, after the other, after the other. I don't know, I didn't do anything special, but I made like a little slideshow. So it shows some of like demographics in town and some of the information that was on that first page, puts it in a slideshow so you're not on a web page for 10 minutes trying to get to the bottom. I just rearranged it a little bit. But if not on the town's website, even if we could get like some places have a separate economic development website where even when you're on the town's page, when you click on it, it brings you to a new domain.
Yeah.
If that's possible, I don't know. I think that's a good way to go.
That makes sense. And so what feedback or what are you looking for from us?
I am looking for other ideas that you may have.
So maybe if we go on, we could go to other towns and
Yeah,
see.
if you find
like-
any example
Okay.
websites that you like, how the layout is, and then once I get an idea of what you'd like to see, we could decide what each tab at the top is gonna say. Because, there may be one that says the business directory, or for businesses, and then there's another tab that says for residents or visitors, things like that.
Do you have any, research from people who have access to the website, what they're looking for? Because sometimes, what we're looking for
Yeah.
may not be what, a prospective business is looking for. We may
Mhm.
think something is great, but when I look at it from the business standpoint,
Yeah.
what are they looking for?
I've spoken to a few members of the chamber,
Okay.
and they say that the website is very confusing, and they can't always find what they're looking for on the website. As well as there's a couple different points you have to go to. So with something like a permitting guide or a page that has links to the other pages, at least having it condensed on one page so they can always say, oh, what was my next step? Oh yeah, I'll go back to the economic development page. And then once they have their planning permit, oh yeah, it's right there. It's a building permit is next. Something like that. I think right now that planning stuff is on the planning page, and the building stuff is on the building page, and the conservation stuff is on the conservation page, and there's no central point
Right.
for a business or for a resident even, for anyone that wants to visit auburnmass.gov.
Does the town have a web designer? Just knowing from my own work that it's very hard to do this
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Is this something we've ever considered investing in?
Usually, when towns do this, Grafton just did it, right? So we'll just go through a big, update.
Like a one-time.
A one-time update.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you'll have usually, your assistant town administrator will oversee all of it, right? Because you
Yeah.
need an administrator of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And then the department heads are then given access to their own pages, right? And,
That's-
yeah, and then they upload all their information to each page and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But then usually, in Grafton, the assistant town administrator, he would help any department heads, upload stuff, add widgets and things like that,
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much how it works here.
right?
I have access to edit and upload things to the economic development page, but anything on the overall, the first front page when you come to the website, that's all IT.
Right.
And they grant the access to each person for their own page. So I guess they do oversee it, but it's on my page, it's
Right, you
for
can
me
make
to,
any
yeah.
changes.
Right,
They
that-
actually
yeah.
can add
This is
widgets and-
explaining so
Yes.
much. No, I mean, it's a real skill. This is a real skill, and it is
definitely.
hard
It's
when you're
hard
an
yeah.
expert on your thing, and then also asked to be a web designer
Yeah.
on the
If I
side.
need things added,
Right.
because I have the ClearGov budgeting platform. So on my page, in Grafton, I wanted the widget, so I have a transparency page. I don't know how to do that. I'm not gonna figure it out. So I just send it to, our ATA, and he does it all
He
for me.
uploads it, yeah.
Yeah,
Because, some of it is
Right,
Yeah.
it's hard to
Right,
maintain.
am I gonna spend 4
And then when
hours
there's
learning this? or
20
just-
different
Right.
departments.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because then you end up with different styles,
Right.
you end
Yep.
up with different organization, and
Well, yeah, but sometimes they have it formatted in a way where you can't just like go off the rail in your styles.
Yeah, there's
right?
only
It's
so many-
formatted,
Widgets and modules, I think, are the
Yes.
2 components.
right, right.
There's only so many that you can add into one page.
Yes.
And only so many that I have access to. Some are like restricted, like, you know, things like the town calendar. I don't have access to that, or
Right.
changing
Correct.
anything on that, and
Right,
other things I don't have access to.
right.
Yeah, I guess from, like, not stylistically, but more when you land on a page, if this department is organizing it one way and this department, then that's where your confusion comes in, is that everyone's
Yeah.
putting things in different
Right.
orders, you're not seeing continuity of like the sections and things, and so that,
that's why I don't like going to our town website. I can never
Yeah.
figure out how to navigate, and sometimes you end up at dead links and broken pages.
Yep.
So that's a bummer when that happens.
I know.
I don't envy you having to
I mean,
manage this yourself.
I can say from my point of view, if I could have a page that did direct people to the other pages, how other departments
Yeah.
set up their pages is not my business.
Right.
Yeah.
However they'd like to do
absolutely.
it,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
I want my page to be cohesive and helpful.
Now, do you just use one website, or does yours link out to another website? Because you mentioned some.
Yes.
In Grafton, we do that,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep,
do
I
we
looked at
do
your
that
website.
here too?
No, no.
Is that something that you want to do, or is that something like we could vet out here? Like, but again.
I would be-
it's the-
Yeah.
But you were given a budget, right?
Yep.
I don't know
I mean,
how much
either
it would-
way, if it wasn't working out well, like with the software that we have for our current web platform, and like it wasn't setting up stylistically how I wanted it to
Right,
look,
right.
or things
Because I
weren't
wonder
linking
why-
correctly.
Why do the other towns have another link, right?
Yes.
Because they must be putting more information. more-
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that would be a good, like, assignment for us to go to other towns and look at their economic development webpage, and then we would get a feel for other towns, and then we can compare to Auburn,
Yep.
and then give you some feedback.
Yeah. So some towns do have, the page is on their main web domain, the economic development. And some towns do have a separate link and a separate page altogether
Right.
for it. Grafton has a separate page. I know Charlton has a separate page for it. I can't remember which towns. I looked at a lot of them. But yeah, I would say about half use the same webpage as the rest of the town, and about half have a different webpage.
So you're not designing the web pages, right? Because that's a,
I'm
Well,
designing
Sort of, yes.
to an extent.
Yeah.
You're organizing content within
Yes.
style parameter. Like there's the branding and style and colors.
Yes.
That's all preset.
Yeah, I can't change colors, I can't change any font, I can't change how, like, a link is gonna show up. But I can change what item I want first on our page, and I can change the text, and I can change, the menu items on the side, and any, like, I link some documents over on the right side.
so you're not, are you using like an outside firm to design?
No, I think we use, Civic Plus,
Civic Plus, yeah.
Civic
that's a big
Plus.
one.
Okay.
and that's what the town uses, and that's what all the web pages are.
That's what we just converted to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Civic Plus being their like the base for the website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Structure.
handle a
Yes.
lot of like town municipal websites.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. But they're not gonna like sit with you and like go over the basics of like content presentation.
Administrator, like when
Right.
they roll it out.
Right.
they're
Like
gonna-
how to set it up,
Yes,
how to
they'll
configure.
sit with, probably here in Grafton,
I
the
think
IT department.
it was- yeah, I think it was probably
So
IT.
like they sit with the IT, they show them, they give the training, all that, all those meetings. Then they'll even, give the department heads meetings as well to show them how to update and add things. But I mean, the support is there for Civic, like IT can always reach out to Civic if they need help.
Yeah, or if there's like a bug or
Yes,
something,
yes.
yes,
Right, right.
they need to fix something.
But Civic
Yeah.
doesn't do the work.
The content,
Yes.
No.
delivery and
We do
presentation.
that now,
Yes.
right.
Right, so what you're looking for us is to say, what do we find an appealing,
Yeah.
organized,
Yes.
easy to
Aesthetically,
use,
yes.
access, got it.
Yes.
Yep, that makes sense.
What looks appealing and what kind of information you think would be helpful to see.
Okay,
Okay.
makes sense.
All right.
Tax classification.
Tax classification
Are
is
taxes
coming
going
up.
Are they shifting the
They're
rate?
shifting, yes.
Again?
The current split is 1.12 between residential and commercial. The Chamber of Commerce's goal is to get to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. Oh, well. To
Well,
get
I would assume their goal is
eventually,
even.
yeah, to an even
Oh,
tax
yeah,
rate.
if I were a
Yeah,
business
I'll leave
owner,
it at
that
that.
would be my goal
Yeah.
too. But as a resident, I want it to stay this.
Yes. The hearing for that is on November 13th. So,
Now, did
That's
they?
the same thing every year,
They
pretty much.
passed, at the annual town meeting, the safety complex, the debt exclusion, was that all passed?
at Springtown meeting,
Was it the spring or annual? Yeah, I know that there was one. Was it there a safety?
I,
the,
yes, the safety complex.
And they were
I
saying
can-
something 70 million, 76 million, I read.
I can check whether or not there was a debt exclusion request, and if so, if it was passed. I was out for Springtown meeting, so if it did happen at that
Oh, okay.
meeting, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I can definitely ask about that, but I know that the budget,
Because
For-
that's a concern though,
Yeah.
because then, like, if you pass a $76 million debt exclusion for this, what is that going to do? Because they were estimating that if this passed, the taxes would go up $1,000 an average for a person, right? And then now you're going to shift it at.
over
so-
to the residents more.
Right, so now
Right.
it's gonna be compounded even more. So what are you gonna do about, like, your residents that are on a fixed income,
Well,
you know?
right, that's what our, all of our neighbors are like, how am I gonna swing this?
Right, yeah. And then if you add, well, that didn't pass, I don't think, right?
That's why I was asking, like.
I
pretty
don't
sure it
think
did
so.
not.
Like,
No, I'm pretty sure
You
it
know,
did
it's
not.
like, what's my tax bill gonna look like next
Yeah.
year, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're doing this, and did that pass? Like,
Yeah.
holy moly.
If I remember, I don't think it did, but don't quote me on that.
I-
Don't quote me.
Oh, you don't know if it did?
I don't remember.
I don't, yeah.
That's okay, I'm sorry, I don't know either. I know that the budget for that project went up
Yes, and that was
tens of millions of dollars.
because of all the.
So there was some, like, they were unsure if they were even going to move forward with it. So that's why I'm not sure if it even went to town meeting, because there was such a huge increase in what it would cost to even build that building. So,
Yeah, I heard there will be a proposal to ask for funding to draw up plans for a fire station only at sometime in a near
I
town
think-
meeting.
yes, I think that is true,
Okay.
just for a fire station, but a combined fire EMS
Right.
complex.
Yeah, right, but the total public safety, we seem to be shying
Yeah.
away from.
Yes, that
Because
is
of
correct.
all the barriers.
Okay, so maybe it didn't pass, maybe it didn't even go forward.
I don't know. We also
That
can't
would make
find,
sense.
Right.
Why
we also
if it-
can't
yeah,
find a
if it didn't-
property to do it on.
Yeah.
I can look into it and let you guys know.
Yeah,
Okay.
interesting.
Okay.
What's the vibe from the Chamber of Commerce if, like, they can't keep pushing the the business rate down?
Like, is this really a big barrier to entry for businesses, or?
I think so. It costs for businesses too, and I know residential tax rates are crazy in town as well, but it costs businesses, they did a comparison of a Market Basket, because Market Basket just went in Shrewsbury. So what they pay in taxes for that building now that's built out versus what they would have paid for the same cost of the building in Auburn, and it was a massive difference. So I would say that is a deterrent. Whether or not Market Basket is specifying that, you know, a couple $100,000 difference in their taxes every year to be 20 minutes away,
Yeah,
I think it-
that's a big
I think it's a big thing.
concern.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, for big businesses like that, it's a big difference in what you would pay in taxes, but also for a small business even, a couple $100 more is also a deterrent. So, you know, it affects big businesses, small businesses, any type of business that may want to come to town. There is one person on the Chamber of Commerce who had to move her business to Millbury because the taxes were so high. So that was a personal anecdote that she gave. I haven't, you know, sent out a survey and asked different businesses whether if it was the taxes specifically, but I do think it's a factor, absolutely, in their decisions. And it should be.
The taxes and the ease of doing business are the two
Mhm.
things that you hear quite often.
Yeah. I'm hoping to make doing business easier with the zoning changes. And fixing the website and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know, those, yeah, yeah. It shouldn't be so difficult. So if I can make it easier, I would like to. Fall town meeting is in October. I just threw that on there because it's a town event coming up. And the municipal aggregation electricity rate, our new contract is starting this November, and the residential and commercial rate on that program is 14.68 cents per kilowatt hour.
Wow, that's high.
It's-
It's going up, like.
Yeah.
I just.
From a
got
couple
out
years
of
ago,
a
it
contract
is-
.09 and,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, ooh, yeah.
It's going up from a couple years ago, but National Grid for the winter will be at 18 cents. So
Really?
prices are rising overall, but this is better than we had previously, because previously the contract rate was 23 cents. So,
Wow,
Mhm.
really?
yeah.
Wow.
It was just a one-year contract, though. It was from last November to this November. So,
Well, it kind of makes sense though, because we get a kickback, right? So, the residents sign up for it,
Mhm.
and then, and I don't know what percentage it tallies out to, but then the town receives money back, and then you're supposed to take that money and then reinvest it back into the community with programs.
yes.
Like,
We receive
What type of
.00
programs do you do here?
0.001 cent. So 1/100th of a cent, I think that is, right? That partially funds my salary. And the other goes into an account, and yes, we do use that for various purposes,
Yeah.
for town projects, and it's an extra account.
Right. Very nice.
Thank you.
You're like, shut up.
Was it my
Mary."
.001 cent?
So you're saying that you personally would prefer that we not all install solar panels and go off grid?
No, you guys, honestly, do whatever you want.
That's a very small amount of money.
I mean, with the number of residents and businesses that are on the program, it's a couple $1,000s every, I don't know, month or quarterly, something like that. That is pretty much it. I sent the minutes, I believe, on Friday. If I can't make a motion to accept those, I wrote them, so.
Motion to accept the January 2023 minutes.
All right,
I'll second it.
all right, thank you.
Aye.
All in favor, yeah.
Aye.
Aye,
All
aye.
in favor?
Oh,
Yes.
thank you for all being in favor. I wanted to ask if you guys would be open to designating a clerk for this committee?
I was just realizing that no one was actually taking minutes.
Well, that's why I asked them to record it today.
Okay.
So that at least for this meeting, I could go back and listen to it, but I wanted to see how you guys felt about designating a clerk. Michael is the chair. I don't believe we have a vice chair anymore because I think that was Jonathan.
Yes.
He chose not to pursue reappointment.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it would be board reorganization for a vice chair and a clerk if you guys are open to that.
Mm-hmm.
Which we don't have to do today, but just bringing it up. A lot of, I would say most of the other committees have a clerk.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Is there like an easy template for creating the minutes? Like, are there
I could-
guidance on how
Yeah.
to do it well?
I could make one. It's the main points that you want to get are any votes, who's present at the meeting, who's absent, what time the meeting opens, what time it closes. Any action that you take like that, you want to record so that it's in the minutes, and any main points of conversation that someone may be interested to read that was discussed at a town meeting. But I have a template that I use, and I have past minutes, if that would be helpful.
And would the clerk have access to the video to?
Yeah, all the videos are posted online. So I could ask them, they don't always record these meetings, but I could ask them to start recording them, the ACTV. And then they're on the ACTV YouTube page once once the recording is finished. They're posted.
Because that might make it easier if you could
Yeah.
refer back to
Yeah.
video.
Mm-hmm.
And there are no transcripts, I'm assuming.
No. Oh, I've looked. I've tried to transcribe it.
As long as I could use a laptop, I would be happy to volunteer as that, but I don't
Thank
know
you.
what the process is. Do we have to vote?
We can take a vote now if you'd like, or we can wait until next meeting. If you're open to it, we
Yeah.
can take a vote now.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, a motion.
I vote to accept Lindsay as our new clerk for the Economic Development Committee. Anybody gonna second it?
Yep, second. All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll do the minutes for this meeting today.
Okay.
You don't have to start right
Great.
away.
I was not planning on it.
Okay. I'm already writing it all down. Do you guys want to set a meeting date, our next meeting date, while we are here today? I think It's more helpful for me to set them at the meeting, for the next meeting.
What's the timeframe?
I think usually committees meet monthly.
Mhm.
We may want to meet like maybe in November and take December off and then
Okay.
like resume again in January, right?
Yeah, that works for me.
Because well, like we never really met monthly, but, you know, I'd like to at least get us back to like quarterly,
Yeah,
right? Because that's, like, we used to do it more often. And then I think after COVID, kind of like, yeah.
okay.
So if we could get it back to, you know, at least 3-4 times a year,
Yeah,
that would be great.
absolutely.
And it just feels like you have some really not time sensitive, but you'd like to get our feedback on these things. We have some action items. So
Yes.
why not meet in a month? It gives us
Okay,
a good timeframe. Yeah.
Perfect. If we're sticking with Tuesdays, I am just not available the 7th.
Yeah, I think that's election day
Mhm.
anyways, so that
Oh, okay.
probably wouldn't be good.
The 31st is Halloween, and so
Okay,
my little guy will at least be wanting to trick or treat. So if we could do the 14th.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, the 14th.
the 14th of November?
Yeah.
Sure.
That works.
Wait, I should check my work calendar, not my personal calendar.
Well, you should check that too.
Nope, that works for me. So November 14th at 5? 5 PM works? Okay.
That works. Yep, that's fine.
So we'll review the zoning information, and we'll come up with some other zoning amendments for the mall for
Okay.
you. And then we'll look at other websites and get some other ideas for you
Yes.
for our website. here.
Okay. I think the main thing right now is the website, although the zoning is important as well. But I won't meet with you guys before I meet with the zoning bylaw review committee again.
Okay.
So when we have our next meeting, I can let you know what their thoughts are on what I brought to them as
Okay.
far as your feedback goes.
All right,
Okay,
perfect.
all right. We do need
I
a
just got one other question. The missing minutes that we couldn't find, what became of that?
I don't know, what was that? Yes, I haven't asked Melinda what to do in that case, I apologize, but, that was a while ago, that was over a year ago. I can't say I know where my notes are from that meeting, and, it wasn't recorded. I was under the impression that it was going to be recorded?
None of our meetings were.
Okay.
Yeah.
That may have been like the first or second meeting that we had, so I wasn't sure. I'll ask her what to do, and hopefully I can find my notes that I took that meeting, and at least, get on the record the opening of the meeting and the closing of the meeting, and any votes that we may have taken. I don't think there were any, but,
Or if you could let me know, like, what date it was, I can give you, like, some notes I had.
Okay.
and-
I know, I'm trying to think.
It was-
Had the agenda somewhere. might
I
still
do have the
it.
agenda.
I just mean that my copy of it that I would have scribbled on, so I might have some.
Right, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
I could do the same thing,
Yeah.
and we could,
Yeah, what was the date?
put something together.
I will check. I think it was last September,
Might have been August.
or August, okay.
I can't say for sure it still happened, but there's a chance.
That's, yeah. I'm sorry, I dropped the ball on that one. I had the notes and then I went out, I cleaned my office before I went on maternity leave, so like I said, I may or may not have them. But that's my
August
fault.
23. August 23,
Okay,
I think.
it was August 9th, 2022.
Oh, you know what, I think I missed that meeting.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I don't even.
It's my fault that the minutes aren't done, so.
I think that was one of the first meetings, and I missed completely.
That's okay.
Yeah, because I don't have that. I don't have that.
What was his name, our prior, clerk, what was his name?
I don't know. Was there a clerk?
What was,
John.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Oh.
He used to take notes. I'm wondering if
Oh, okay.
you might just reach out to him and
Yeah, that's a
ask
good
if he has them if he has
Okay.
notes. Like, he probably would have, if he was there and had taken them, I don't know, but maybe
I'll
he just
ask him.
forgot. I know he was pretty good about it, so I'm not accusing that he somehow dropped the ball, but, it could be that he has something.
I only met him one time, so, again, I can't say it was that meeting or if it was a different meeting.
that's fair. Well, anyway.
Yeah, it looks like, Mary, you weren't there. I got an email. I just was going through and,
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, because I don't have the
yep.
agenda.
I don't usually throw out these
Pretty.
agendas where I like take notes, so it must be somewhere, but,
Okay.
I
I'll take a
apologize.
look at home too.
okay, thank you. Yeah, if you do have any, thank you very much. If you don't have any notes, it is totally fine, because that is my fault.
Well, I can say with confidence that Michael almost always calls the meeting to order, so you can at least put that to.
True.
Except for tonight.
Would someone like to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.